Well, a UN report warned earlier this month that climate change, the repercussions for India in particularly, will be irreversible if New Delhi doesn't take drastic measures by 2030. In your view, is the government doing enough?
Well, thank you for having me. I hope you are able to hear me well. Uh, Indeed, the heat waves are affecting what is called as a South Asia. I'm speaking you from the place where the temperatures are about 40 degrees centigrade. That may be shocking for most of the European countries. Uh, in India, particularly, we have seen that over the last 122 years, when the record began with Indian Meteorological Department, this has been highest temperature in a month of March and maybe even April. We are not yet finished. We are on the last day of the April. Uh, but yes, it is affecting the normal life. It is never heard of before because normally heat waves come in the month of May. But we are seeing it much earlier in a summer, and it has caught people unaware. It was a surprising thing, and there are a number of reasons for that.
And Rajendra, officials they're set to roll out both in India and Pakistan heat health action plans. Now the UN says these have been successful in saving lives in recent years, but are they enough, do you think?
Well, what is happening is we are caught unaware. I mean, we all know that climate science or the atmospheric science is chaotic. One of the reasons why we are caught unaware because there is something called as a westerly disturbance that causes early rains, maybe in February, March, and April, or beginning of April. And those rains have not come. There are various reasons why those rains have not come. And even if the measures are taken by countries like India and Pakistan, by having less of fossil fuel use or more precautions in adapting to the higher temperatures, when we are caught unaware, I think we are unable to see the results of being a healthy society. Take the example of California. We have seen that over the last 1200 years, we have not seen the drought as we see in California today. So that is something a developed society which is also caught unaware because of the climatic scenario that is happening. We,
And
of course, blame climate change, but there are the reasons which are not necessarily climate change itself, but those aid to the climate change.
And Rajendra, what does this record-breaking heatwave tell us about the wider challenges posed by climate change in the region?
Well, you did mention in the beginning that it affects the whole ecosystems as well as the human development. And what is happening is it's not only water scarcity, it's the energy supply. And the energy supply is sort of a rebound effect or a cumulative effect because more the energy supply, more is the use of fossil fuel. And why we require more energy? Because the global warming, the temperatures are high, and we require air conditioning, we require fans, and we require cooling equipment for keeping our food supplies in a preserved state. And that has an effect, which is sort of a vicious cycle. And because we are caught unaware because of the early March and April, because the westerly disturbance has not come, the enough moisture has not been carried to the northern peninsula of India and Pakistan, we are in a state where we are almost helpless in taking it. But yes, there are some solutions for that. And those are related to getting rid of short lived climate pollutants. Because if you reduce, yes.
Scientists are warning that more than 1 billion people there are at risk of heat-related illnesses in the wider region. Tell us more about that if you can.
Well, I think you are right. I think the very large population, and most of them are poor. They are not as well developed as California, probably. But it's a direct impact on health. is on a food, in a water. And many say that, and it is scientifically now being investigated, that earlier air pollution also gives rise to what is called as the augmentation of the temperature. More the air pollution, we have the less the moisture which is being caught. And then the tropospheric, the ground level temperature goes up. There is another reason for that, and that is related to what is called as the heat island effect. The development that takes place is mainly in terms of the housing, more concretization of the roads, of the spaces, and then we don't have enough soil to absorb the temperature as well as to absorb certain pollutants. That has, so the more the development, more is the heat island effect, and more is the quick rise of temperature.
Rajendra, we'll have to. Apologies for cutting over you there. We'll have to leave it there, Rajendra. But thank you so much for your time this morning. That's Rajendra Shende, Chair of the not-for-profit TARE Policy Centre, joining us from India.